Good evening, everyone. Welcome into the Confident Autistic live stream. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let me, let me, there we go. Oops, that's the wrong one. There we go. Let's turn on the camera here. It's coming up. I'm coming on. I'm going to be there. Trust me. I'm not hiding from you guys tonight. And I have my audio up on my phone. Okay. So the audio is working. That's great. Awesome. So thank you for joining us tonight on the Confident Autistic live stream. I am the Confident Autistic. So hey, my fellow confident autistics. I am the Confident Autistic, but you can call me Chris. On this channel, I create videos and more that will help you better understand autism, connect you with resources that can help you through your autistic journey. And I share my life as a late diagnosed autistic adult. Now, if that's what you're looking for, consider subscribing to this channel. It'll make my day. And this is the Confident Autistic live stream you're watching right now. The Confident Autistic live stream is a weekly live stream where I interact with you and other adults on a late autism journey. So it's great to be here tonight. I'm very excited about tonight's presentation. And there we go. It's been a interesting week for me. I don't know about you. Tell me where you're from, first of all. Second of all, if you're new to this live stream, type in new viewer and I'll give you a shout out. And if you have joined this channel in the last week, type in new sub and I'll give you a shout out as well. Type those into the chat. Don't type them into your text messages on your phone. Let's be specific. Type it into the chat that's somewhere on the screen. I don't know, maybe underneath you, maybe to the left, maybe to the right. I don't know. But somewhere on the screen, you should be. Now, if you're watching this on a television set, I don't think you can chat from a TV. I haven't figured that out yet. So, if somebody knows how to do that, let me know because I watch a lot of YouTube videos on my TV, and I would love to leave feedback. I would. Positive feedback. I try to stay away from negative feedback for a couple of reasons. One, I don't like being a negative person. And two, I have my own channel. If I don't want to get negative comments, I better not be dishing those out, right? All right. It has been an interesting week for me. It has been very interesting for me. Very eye-opening and warm here. A lot been going on. A lot of stuff getting done. And I'm getting some really cool stuff ready for you guys this fall. It's gonna be really, really wonderful here. Amazing. I'm so excited. Yes, I am. Okay. Let's do this. Oh yeah, so and wherever you're watching from, let me know where you're watching from, okay? And what time it is there. Why not? Let's put that all in the chat. Let's have some fun with that. And we'll just have a good time this evening. We're going to be talking about 10 common autistic triggers for those of us on a late autistic journey, and anxiety triggers, that is. And I like to hear yours. If you come up with one, put it in the chat. I would love to see what your triggers are. But first, I would like to remind you, if you're new here, or if you're not, just a friendly reminder. Um, Tonight, we're going to talk about 10 everyday things that can cause anxiety for autistic adults. But first, if you're new here, this is a safe space, a judgment-free zone where we can better understand ourselves and each other and start living confidently autistic. And now let's take a look at the subscriber count. Yes, it's up to 377. Last week it was like, what, 373, 374, something like that. It went up. So I really want to thank everyone who is subscribed to this channel. Small applause, but hey, I'll take it, right? Yeah, 377. I am so excited about that. I really appreciate that. For you choosing my channel, subscribing to it, and being a part of this and helping this grow. I really do. And I could use your help to grow. If you have not already, or you're a subscriber, let's grow this channel. And there's 4 ways we can do this. You can like this video. That's not that hard to do. It's very simple. It's at the bottom of your video. There is a little thing that has a little thumbs up, and you just thumbs up it. I just did it myself for me. Okay, that always helps the algorithm. Okay, you can also share this with somebody who could benefit from this. Okay, commenting. Please comment because otherwise I feel like I'm talking to myself, and I do that enough on my own. I don't need that reinforced. And of course, you can always subscribe to the channel. And when you do subscribe, don't forget to ring the bell to be notified when new videos are premiering and when I go live. And we have started this last Friday, and it's kind of picking up a little bit. Friday's video and Monday's video, I did a premiere of them, and I interacted with some of you. So I'm there during the premieres. If it's a premiere, I'm going to be there, and you can chat with me during that. Let me know what you're thinking about the video, whatever's on your mind. So our goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers. Okay. Now, I, I I realize this summer people are doing fun things and viewership's down a little bit. I get that it happens during the summer. So we're shooting for 500 by Labor Day. Okay, I think we could do this if we really work together as a team. So please support the channel. Now I have a free offer for you, and this free offer, I'm going to give you a hint, is going to go away. Okay, it's going to go away in August. So this is one of your last chances to grab this. And let me do this because I'm probably blocking that. Okay, turn my camera off so you can use the QR code. This is Live Confidently Autistic, a guide to understanding yourself and building confidence. Now, this is a free PDF. It's 27 pages long. And in this PDF, you'll find ways to embrace your neurodivergence with pride. You will discover how to overcome self-doubt and build lasting confidence, and you will navigate life authentically and unapologetically. Now, you can grab your copy at theconfidentautistic.com, and you can go to start theconfidentautistic.com/start. I'm talking and typing or trying to type at the same time. This doesn't really work, does it? And I'm going to put a link to that into the chat right now, or you can scan the QR code on your screen if you're watching from your television. You have your phone handy or your tablet, either one. Scan that in. It's safe. No viruses. I don't like viruses. Okay, so like I said, this has been a pretty fun week for me. Busy week. And as we did last week, I premiered my new logo, a new branding logo. And so this week I went a little branding crazy here in the office. So let me show you what I did here. This is my view that I see when I'm sitting in this chair. You don't get to see it because you're in the camera, but this is my view. This is what I did. I updated my desktops. Now, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, I did not realize this until I was putting the slide in like 20 minutes before we began this live stream and had some other stuff to do. And I realized I got my finger in there. I did. So, kind of for a view that does not have my finger in it, this is what it looks like. I even have a big screen TV up on the wall that's above me. And most of the time, it rotates pictures of my late wife that bring me comfort and brings back great memories. But that is what my office kind of looks like today. I took this picture earlier today. And the wall kind of looks weird colors. The wall is blue. Okay. It looks weird because the lighting coming in. I have on over here. I'm going to try it. Oh, it won't show up. Well, okay. I have a blue curtain and a window here. Have you noticed I like blue? Blue, blue Nido ball. And they don't make these anymore. I knew they were going to stop making them. I would have bought 100 of them. I would have. Would have said, let's hoard them. Okay. Anyway, so that's what I've been up to this week. One of the many things I've been up to this week. I've been enjoying, if you were with me last week, you heard I did not need to go anywhere for 11 weeks. I'm enjoying that. Wow. Hey, do you like going out in public or do you rather stay at home? I'd rather stay at home. I mean, I'm enjoying every single minute of this. So anyway, let's get into tonight's topic, which is the 10 everyday anxiety triggers for autistic adults, 10 plus, because I need your help to add to this list, okay? We need to do that. And let's get into it. Let me get my notes up here, okay? The first one, number one, unexpected changes to plans or routine. This includes last minute schedule changes, canceled appointments, or surprise visitors. Now, this one I can relate to. Can you relate to this? I get, and this is a word my wife's grandfather taught me. It means kind of confused, upset, whatever, miscabubulated. That's what happens after the last minute schedule change. I work so much better on schedules. One of the reasons I wanted to work in radio because they had a fixed schedule. One of the reasons I love buses, they have a bus schedule. And when I lived in California, the buses would come down to transit center, main point where most of the routes connected. And it was supposed to leave at 15 after the hour. Well, they would hold all the buses there until 20 after the hour for those buses that are coming late so people can make their connection. And that always frustrated me. It's called a bus schedule, not a bus suggestion. I mean, it really did. So I don't do well with schedule changes. Canceled appointments. Now, sometimes it's like, oh, thank God, I really did not want to do that anyway. Most of the time, it's like, no, I have this unstructured free time. I don't know what to do with it. I don't have a plan for this. And that really causes me anxiety because I don't know what to do. Oh, and surprise visitors. Okay. Now, how I grew up in the Midwest. And I don't know if this is typical for everybody in the Midwest, but I'm going to tell you what my experience has been. People did not come to your house unannounced. Okay, they would call. Now, this back in the day when we used landlines and all, we did not have the internet and no texting. People would call and say, "Hey, do you mind if I drop by?" They just did not drop by out of the blue. Now I moved to California, and people would just drop by whenever the heck they wanted to, which drove me up a wall. Now I'm not picking on California. I love my time living there, but surprise visitors upset me a lot because, like, oh my gosh, I had other things planned. Now I got to stop and interact and entertain somebody. I know I sound like a grumpy old man. I know it. I know it. You can say it. It's okay. I'll own it. I'm trying to get something up here on my phone. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Now the other thing that upsets me is interruptions when I'm in a routine. Now, as you know, my mom lives with me. We share a house together, and I'm kind of her caregiver. Well, kind of, I probably am her caregiver. And there are times like tonight. I was going to go out to the garage, get some bottles of water, see if the garbage cans went down to the curb or not, come back in, come into the office. And when I come back into the for the garage, my mom says, "Can you get me a Pepsi?" And it's like, oh, that was not part of my routine. That was not part of my plans. And it really caused me anxiety and made me a little bit cranky. Does that happen to you? Share it in the chat if it does, okay? Number two on our list is sensory overload. And this includes loud noises, bright lights, crowded environments, and strong smells. Okay, for me, and I'd like to hear your experiences on this. Do you get anxious from sensory overload? Loud noises do bother me. I had housekeeping over here today. I get them every 2 weeks because I'm not that dirty, but it's hard for me to clean because of my physical disabilities. But so they came over and they were cleaning, they were banging some stuff around, and they were moving stuff to clean and ran a vacuum and all these loud noises and this crew. Okay, first of all, we have vaulted ceilings in the living room. This crew, they have loud voices because they will yell to one another from one side of the house to another, and all that loudness, like, ugh. But I knew it was only temporary. I made it through there. Bright lights. Yes, those bother me. That's why you see me most of the time wearing a hat. And I make it through these live streams and videos because right in front of me, right up here, there's a big bright white light so you can see my face. And that really does bother me and kind of annoys me at times. I don't know about anxiousness. It doesn't really make me all that anxious, but for me, it annoys me and it's uncomfortable. Crowded environments. Oh heck yes. When I go out, I like to go shopping during off-peak hours. I like traveling during off-peak hours because crowded environments cause me anxiety. Strong smells doesn't really, it causes a little anxiety for me. Okay, it does. The the thing is, the strong smells, it like it makes me like, oh, how can somebody put that underneath their nose and eat it? Because most of the strong smells that bother me are food related. And it bothers me and makes me nauseous. Now, what bothers me and causes me a little bit of anxiety is when I touch food, the ones that I will not eat, and I won't eat them because I don't like touching them, and I call it ooey gooey, and that this get so anxious with that on it. Gotta get my hands cleaned. And just to let you know, I do have some ADHD, so I'm bouncing off the walls tonight. And I have not had any caffeine, but I did take a nap this afternoon, so excuse my energy level tonight. Number three is too many questions at once. And this can feel like feeling pressured to answer immediately. Okay. That can cause you some anxiety. It does me. Now, I feel pressure to answer immediately because, as I mentioned before, I've worked in radio. And when you don't want dead air in radio, okay? That's why I don't pause that much when I do these videos, and I should. But that's a problem for me to work out later. Too many questions at once and feeling pressure to answer immediately. Some people will wait 5, 10, 20 seconds before they answer, and they make that a habit because that helps them process it and come up with the right answer. Another topic we can talk about with too many questions at once are the difficulty processing multiple pieces of information. If you ask me a question that has one part to it or two, like what, let's see, should I call my doctor office early about these symptoms? And if so, why? I can answer that. Okay. But you ask me three, 4 part questions. That's when I get anxious and I get overwhelmed. Okay. That's just me, just who I am. And remember, feel free to join in and let me know if any of these resonate with you or if I have not mentioned your top 10 anxiety trigger. Okay. Number 4, phone calls. Now, this is gotten a little bit better with texting, okay? But phone calls do cause some anxiety for people. For me, when I've got more phone calls, I don't get that anymore. I don't get that many anymore. Um, Not knowing why someone is calling is anxious. It's like, oh my God, why? Why are they calling? Okay. Now, whether you're neurodiverse or not, if you get a phone call from your doctor's office, that may cause anxiety, whoever you are, wondering, what bad news are they going to tell me? Okay, because most doctors' offices have this policy: if your lab work is fine, we don't call you. If we have a problem with it, you get a phone call. Like, oh great, I'm dreading a phone call from my doctor now. Anyway, phone calls and not knowing why someone is calling can cause anxiety. Okay, being on a phone call and having to think and respond instantly, that can cause anxiety and fear of misunderstanding, as misunderstanding the person you're talking to or them misunderstanding you. Another thing that causes me anxiety about phone calls is the length of them. Because I'm looking for a way out. Okay. I'm looking for a way out. And I'm like, there are times I will do this like speed up signal with my hand. They can't see it on the phone, but I do this. Or there's like find a runway, land it, those kind of things. Is like, when can I get off this call? I really don't like talking on the phone all that much. Okay, so you do call me and you get me on the phone. Please do me a favor, keep it brief. My father-in-law is the same way. He could talk to somebody for 5, 10 minutes, especially out of state, and who he does not see. He could talk to them maybe 20 minutes, and he's done visiting. Okay, I'm the same way. Now, my dad could sit and visit for 2 to 3 hours, which drove me up a wall. Like, Dad, got things to do, and you're repeating yourself. That's my own problem. Anyway, let's move on to number 5. Unexpected social interaction. Now, I'm willing to bet you somebody who's watching this video live has this as a anxiety trigger. Okay, I'm willing to bet you most people who are watching this would. Okay, and the unexpected social interactions can look like running into somebody you know unexpectedly. You did not expect to see them there. Now, I have a funny story about that, and I'm going to check the chat in a moment. I see something came in there. I am used to seeing people in certain environments. Okay, part of it is my vision. I also have a visual impairment. I'm legally blind. So one day while I was going to work, this car pulled up next to me, rolled down the window, and said, "Hey, Chris, would you like a ride?" Now, at this time, I had been working in radio, so people kind of knew at least my voice, and maybe people who knew who I was and all. And I yelled, "Get away from me, you creep!" So I get to work, and the person I yelled at and called a creep was my boss offering me a ride to work. Yes, I still had a job afterwards. Yeah, running, that was unexpected running. And does not really have a lot to do with anxiety trigger, but that's a funny story that happened to me. Um, to that, because I don't get in cars with strangers, people. I just don't. But running into someone you know, and then okay, the conversation. I'm not prepared for this. This causes anxiety. Speaking of that, someone starting a conversation. Oh, good God. That's my biggest fear when I go somewhere. I'm at the doctor's office in the waiting room. I could be on a paratransit bus. I could be waiting for a bus, and somebody would just start talking to me. And it's like, oh, that is so much anxiety for me. I want to tell them I don't do small talk. I don't, because I think they may think it's rude, probably is, but I just, I hate. I got a T-shirt. I told this story before. I'm gonna tell it again because it's funny. Got this T-shirt, big bold text on it that says, "You read this shirt." That's enough social interaction for one day. I wore that shirt. Excuse me for the burp. I wore that shirt to kind of tell people I don't do small talk. Okay, so I went out public and all. And the first day I wore it in public, 4 people came up to me and started conversations, loving the shirt. It did not do what it was supposed to do. Maybe I would write words seriously on it. Do not approach me. I mean, I don't know. Neighbors saying hello. I love my neighbors. I live in a really nice neighborhood, and we kind of all look out for one another. But one thing I do try to avoid is interacting with them, because they're going to say hello, and then small talk is like, all I want to say was hi. You know, I'm going inside now. But no, they want to talk more. And of course, I think this many of us can relate to small talk that we weren't prepared for. Oh, yeah, that's the big one. Because small talk you kind of have to get prepared for. And I'm checking the chat here. Vance wrote, unannounced visitors, meeting new people. Yeah, I like that. Meeting new people. I don't like doing that, but I mean, I like that as an anxiety trigger. You make a great point there. Meeting new people is very anxiety triggering for me. Unknown callers. Now, unknown callers, I have a policy on that, and I'll get to the rest of his message in a moment. If it's an unknown caller, and I think a lot of people are doing this now because there's so many spam calls now. If I don't know who you are, I'm not answering the phone. Your best shot is to leave a message and hope I'll call you back. Your best shot, okay? I'll be honest with you about that. Hate uh, callers I do not know. Now, this, it comes from one, I don't want to get scammed. I don't want the number of scam calls to come up and to go up. And that part of it. But I was invited to speak a virtual presentation about a year, well, probably 2 years ago. And it's from a part of the country. The person I was talking to, I think was like in Georgia, wherever, right? Southeast. And then a couple of days later, after I inked the agreement, I got this phone call over and over and over again. I finally picked up and started yelling at the person. Don't even know who it was. And then I looked at the phone number, and they had the same area code as the place that I was going to be doing the virtual speaking for. And I went home, you idiot. You may have just blown a gig. Good news is I did not blow a gig. Now, I don't know if it's related or not, but after I did that virtual presentation, they have not invited me back. Maybe I have blown future gigs. I don't know. That's part of the reason I don't do that anymore because I get frustrated and anxiety, and I just have kind of a little mini meltdown on the phone. I tell people off, which is one trait about me. You never people would describe me to others, right? You never have to worry about how Chris feels about you. He'll tell you whether you want to hear it or not. I will do that. Let's go back here and finish up reading what Vance had put in here. Let's see. Uh, Meeting new people, unknown callers, and social gatherings cause me the most anxiety. Oh gosh, yes. I I hate social gather, and I won't go alone. The only way you can get me to go to a social gathering was if my wife would go with me. Now that's not an option, so I'm not going anywhere. On the 4th of July weekend, my niece came over, and the kids are going to be involved in some kind of a parade that we have in town each year. And she was mentioning to my mom, "Why don't you come in and be there and watch the kids do that?" And all. I'm sitting there like, dear God, please don't ask me because I don't want to hurt the kids' feelings because I really don't want to go to an event that's crowded, a big parade with a lot of people. I don't like that. Okay. And thank God she did not ask me. So yeah, it's like, oh, I dodged that bullet. Anyway, let's get back to the list because we're halfway through this. Remember to add things that I'm not having on this list that are anxiety triggers for you. And you can go ahead and add them now. Maybe they're on the list and we're on like minds. Who knows? Number 6, unwritten social rules. Oh, yeah. This is a big anxiety thing. And it's for me too. Wondering if you're saying the right thing. There are times with my wife, she and I would have a conversation, and then she gets frustrated with me, and I finally say, "What am I supposed to say? I don't know what I'm supposed to say. What do you want me to say?" you know and it was not one of those typical husband-wife fights about leaving the toilet seat down or whatever. It's just a normal conversation she wanted to have, and she was getting frustrated because I was not interacting that well or right or whatever, because I don't do small talk. She knew that, and most of the time she did not try small talk with me, but every once in a while she needed to talk and I needed to listen. Speaking of unwritten social rules, reading facial expressions. Now, I cannot relate to this, at least I don't think I can. Because one, I don't make eye contact. I hate eye contact. I don't look at people's faces, okay? I was volunteering at the hospital, and the family came up. They needed to talk to our family care nurse that helps people in very difficult situations in the intensive care unit. And the family care nurse came over to me and said, "Okay, who in that waiting room do I need to talk to? What the family name is. I don't remember the family name. Even if I did, I cannot say it because of HIPAA rules. Anyway, I said, well, they were wearing a green shirt, and it's like fake people out there wearing a green shirt. I don't look at faces. I don't remember. It's a person. All I remember is male or female. That's all I remember. Okay, and what they're wearing. That's it. But yeah, reading facial expressions is one of the unwritten social rules that causes anxiety. Now, the other thing is, like I mentioned, I am legally blind, and I don't see facial expressions. Okay, I don't. Okay, so I used to have a boss when I worked in at a computer lab in California in college, that he hated it when I answered the phone before he did. Okay. I was closer to it. And he would give me dirty looks. And one of my coworkers said to me, doesn't it bother you that Bob's giving you a dirty look every time you answer the phone? Well, I don't notice them. So I don't know if I'm not noticing them because of my visual impairment or because of my autism or both. I don't know. And then, of course, small talk. We talked about this earlier, but there's some social rules in small talk. Don't ask me what they are because I have no idea what they are. But I can tell you one thing, a couple of things I learned through the school of hard knocks. If someone's talking to you, try to at least fake like you're interested. if they're doing small talk. Don't say things like, wow, that's really fascinating. Why don't you tell me that later when I'm not here? Don't. I know it's probably tempting. I have a smart mouth and all, but that's one of the things that can cause anxiety. Small talk and knowing what you can and cannot do or say. Number 7, conflict or confrontation. Oh, now this causes me a lot of anxiety. Someone sounding angry, okay? That causes me anxiety. Now, I do not know 100% sure that just because of my autism or because I grew up with a verbally abusive, functioning alcoholic father and all, and at times you feel like you're walking on eggshells around him. So maybe a little bit of both. I don't know. But it does cause me anxiety when someone sounds angry. I think, what did I do or not do that upset them? Or are they mad at me? There was one time that my sister-in-law, not sister-in-law, I'm sorry, my niece-in-law came over and she was in a really bad mood that day. And I looked at her and said, did I do something wrong? And she said, no. I said, good. Then don't have a bad attitude around me in my house because I don't need it. But anyway, so someone's sounding angry, okay? That bothers me. The fear of disappointing others. Oh, good gosh, yes, I can relate to that. And I think this is one of the reasons, at least for myself, that I'm a fawner. I try to be a people pleaser, which usually nobody is pleased when you do that. At least somebody isn't. Sometimes it's you that's not pleased, sometimes the other, sometimes it's both. But yeah, I have a fear of disappointing people. Because I know I'm trying to figure out how to interact in a neurotypical world as a neurodiverse person without a handbook on how to do all of this stuff. And another thing is not knowing how to respond. Talked about this a little bit earlier when you're having conversation with someone, not knowing how to respond to that person or what to say. That that can cause you anxiety. Like, I know they're expecting me to say something. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to respond. I'm anxious. I just want to get the hell away from here. Okay. Let's take a look at number 8. Waiting without answers. Oh, good golly, I'm horrible about this. Uh, I've gotten better about this one. Waiting for a text back. Okay. I used to be to the point of this. It could be a phone call, it could be an email, it could be a letter, it could be whatever. I want an answer right away because, like, oh my gosh, did I say something wrong? Did I offend them? Do they not like me anymore? All of those thoughts went through my mind. So waiting for a text back or response can and has caused me anxiety. Now that I'm older, I don't give a F anymore. So uh, I'll text somebody if they like what I said, fine. If not, hey, it's nice to know that you're not really my best of friends. So I let it go. Medical test results. I don't care if you're neurodiverse or neurotypical. Waiting without answers for medical test results can cause anyone anxiety. Okay, that it can be a trigger for anybody for anxiety. Now the thing I've learned, and it kind of helps me a little bit. It does not get rid of all my anxiety, but makes it a little bit more manageable. It's this thought. I pause for water and dramatic effect. Okay. No matter how much you're anxious or worry about a test result, it's not going to change the outcome. If it's going to be a good answer, it's going to be a good answer. If it's going to be a bad answer, it's going to be a bad answer. You're wasting energy worrying and being anxious about it. Now, I still get anxious about it, but that kind of helps me calm down and regulate during that. Another thing that could drive people nuts, again, I think it could be both neurotypical and neurodiverse, job interview decisions. When you apply for a job and you're waiting to hear back if they're going to hire you or not. Some places will call you and, like, oh yeah, if you're getting hired, they'll call you. If you're not getting hired, some would call. Some you never hear from again. And then you're wondering, I haven't heard from them yet. Should I keep applying for the jobs until I hear from them? Or not? I mean, that anxiety comes up. The answer is, and I tell everyone this, you keep applying for a job. I tell the kids this all the time. You keep applying for a job and you don't stop when they say you're hired. You stop applying the first day you go to that job and you come home and you're invited to come back next day because you really do not have that job until your butt is in the seat at that place that you're going to be working. And you get your ID badge, you go through onboarding, all that stuff. Until then, they may change their mind. Who knows? There could be a company hostile takeover and you're gone, whatever. So, waiting without answers, job interview decisions, waiting for that can cause anxiety. And of course, uncertainty in general. Yeah, I think we could all relate to this one. I'm uncertain about the future. I think we all are uncertain about the future and waiting to find out what's going to happen. That can be very anxiety triggering. Okay. Let's be real. It can be. Here's what I think a lot of us can relate to executive function demands. Okay. And this includes having too many tasks. Okay. Starting a new project or knowing you're going to start a new project, making decisions. I am not the fastest person at making a decision. I'll be very honest with you about that. I'm not. Okay. I really analyze it and agonize over it for an extended amount of time before I make a decision. And switching between tasks. Let's break this down a little bit. Too many tasks. Let's talk about that. This is something I'm struggling with right now in my life. Okay. And it connects with other things going on in my life. But when I wake up in the morning, and it's been going on for about 18 months, 17, 18 months, maybe 15, 16, anyway, a little over a year. It does, you really don't care how long, right? Yeah, I figured you didn't. Uh, I wake up anxious. I just very anxious. Now, I did some research on this today, and some of us on the spectrum, the anxiety, you actually feel a little tightness in your stomach. Now, I've had that since third grade whenever I felt anxious. Okay, so I know it's anxiety. For a long time, I thought I was having an ulcer, but it's just anxiety. So I'm relieved to hear that. Anyway, of the two, I'd rather be anxious and have an ulcer and have to have surgery and be on a restricted diet and all that other garbage that goes with that. I wake up every morning very anxious because I know there's so many things I have to do, especially at the start of the morning. Let's count them. I got to get up. I got to brush my teeth. I got to take care of the call to nature. I got to take a shower. I got to feed the cat. I got to put the dishes away. We're up to 6 right now. I got to make myself breakfast. 7, 8, take my meds. 9, put away. I think I mentioned put away dishes. 9, check on my mom and get her breakfast. 10, get the laundry out of the dryer and then take them and put my laundry away. So, bam, there's 11 things. That is too many tasks for me to do in the morning. And I wake up so anxious, some days I get just through maybe 2 or 3 of those. Then I lay down for an hour. Then listening to some autism calming music playlists that I found on Spotify. And then about an hour later, I'm able to get up and my anxiety has not went away. It's decreased enough that I can function. So yes, the executive function demands does cause me anxiety. Does it cause you anxiety? Let me know in the chat. Starting a project. Now, some projects I get excited about starting. Others like, oh man, it's going to be a big project. Am I going to be able to do this? All those fears enter our mind. And that's normal. That's going to cause anxiety. Making a decision can also cause anxiety because you're hoping you make the right decision. Like if somebody asks you, and let's say your wife say, "Well, what would you like to do for our anniversary?" You're thinking, "What's the right answer for this? What should I tell her?" Okay, and because I don't want to disappoint her. I don't want to make her mad. I want to know I love her, and all these decisions can cause anxiety because not only do you want to make the right decision at times, you also want to make sure your decision does not offend anyone because many of us are very careful about that. And of course, switching between tasks is hard. Like I mentioned earlier tonight, when I came in from taking getting some bottles of water and checking the garbage and all. I was going to go and grab me a nice cold bottle of water, come in here and start getting ready for this live stream. And my mom wanted a bottle of Pepsi, a can of Pepsi. And that was not a task I was planning. I had to switch to do that task for her. And I love my mom. I do. But that caused me anxiety. Like, I got other things I want to do. I got to do. I got this live stream starting at the top of the hour. I can't have stuff dropped in on me. Okay. Now, let's get to the last one on our list. Number 10, being put on the spot. Now, you know all 10 of these. If I forgot one, put it in the chat. Okay, we'll talk about it. Yes, being put on the spot when you're in the spectrum can cause anxiety. And being put on the spot can look like being called out in a meeting, okay, or any group activity, and you're not prepared for that. That can cause anxiety, okay? For some of us, introducing ourselves can be considered being put on the spot. Let's say you go to a group meeting, like a church group meeting. Okay, we're going to go around the circle. Everyone introduce who you are, and and for the icebreaker, they say, and what's your favorite flavor of ice cream or whatever. And you're like, oh my gosh, I got to introduce myself to a room full of people I do not know. I'm on the spot here. I am anxious about this. Now, here's one that I found really interesting. And I'll tell you why. Public speaking. Okay, whether you're neurodiverse or neurotypical, I have read studies and reports that said people are more afraid of public speaking than they are of dying. Okay, and this can cause them anxiety. Now, I mentioned in other videos, and if you've really been checking out things in the autism community, you know the expression, when you met one autistic person, you have met one autistic person. Okay, public speaking does not bother me. I love it. I mean, I have no fear. I'm in my element. If you get me where I get to be public speaking, I am more comfortable. I can be in a room of 1,000 people. If I'm doing the speaking, I am not anxious. If I'm in that audience of 1,000 people and I'm not doing the speaking, I get very anxious. Because when you're a speaker, you usually have an idea what the flow is going to be. Who's going to talk first? How long they're going to talk? Yada, yada, yada. You have a schedule. You know what's going to happen. And knowing what's going to happen, for me, reduces my anxiety. I don't know about you, but it does for me. Let me know if knowing what's going to happen is going to reduces your anxiety level, because I would love to know that. Okay. But yeah, most of us are afraid of having anxiety when it comes to public speaking. I'm the odd one in the group. I live for it. Okay. I used to do public speaking in person. I kind of stepped away from that for various reasons. Um, mainly because um, mainly because my wife's not with me anymore, and I just cannot handle the idea of traveling without her, because we traveled so many places for 25 years. I just can't imagine doing it without her. And I don't know. I don't think I'll go back to public speaking. I'm going to be doing more virtual presentations, but public speaking, no. No, I love it, but I just don't think I can do it without my wife. Because when I travel places, she was always with me, and I can't do it alone. Anyway, another way that we are put in the spot, having to answer without time to prepare an answer. Okay. So if that is you, you probably would not be a good contestant on Jeopardy. Okay. And you actually be having to formulate a question without time to prepare for some Jeopardy. But yeah, not having time to prepare can cause anxiety. Okay. It did for me in school all the time. One, I was never prepared in school. Excuse me. I was talking to my mom about this the other day. I remember one of my childhood memories. And whenever I came home from school, she would ask me, "What did you learn today?" I said, "Oh, nothing." She didn't believe me. She said, "You were there 6 hours. You had to learn something." Then my report card came home and fully backed up my story. I was not the best student in the world. But in my defense, when you spend half your day in the principal's office, there's a lot of learning you miss out on. Okay, let's be honest about that. So having to answer without time to prepare is very challenging. And even when I go to meetings today, I like to be as prepared as I can for any contingency. Because if not, I don't like being there unprepared. It's very anxiety triggering for me. Now, I'm sorry, I got some phlegm. Let's take a look at the chat here. Being put on the spot is definitely one of the most stressful things I experience. Being called on to ask questions or answer questions, being called on to answer questions in school, and being pushed to introduce myself. Yes, I can relate to those. Okay. Yeah, I can. Thank you for sharing that, Vance. I certainly can relate to those things. They get to me. So did I leave anything off this list? Now is the time for you to put that into the chat and let me know if I did miss something. And we can talk about those things. And sure, but or which one of that list is the one that causes you the most anxiety? I'm going to take a look back at this list here. I'll do it. I'll do it here. Can I do this? Okay, hold on. Okay. Let's see. Of these, I'm going to read through the list real quickly. Unexpected changes to plans or routine. This, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is probably a 7. 10 being it causes me high anxiety, 1 not very little or none at all. Excuse me. Sensory overload. That's probably below a 5 for me. It does cause me some anxiety, but not that much. It's more of an irritation to me or annoyance. Too many questions at once. This could probably be about a 6 for me. Okay. Phone calls. That could be a 6 or a 7. That really gets to me. Unexpected social interactions. 10. That's my big one. That is the one that really gets to me. Unexpected social interactions. I ride paratransit because of my physical disability, and there are some drivers who want to talk and chat the entire time you're riding. It's like I don't do small talk. Leave me alone. And I don't want to yell at them and then have a driver unhappy with me and maybe get kicked off the bus or whatever. So I play along with it, but it's not my favorite thing to do. Unwritten social rules. That's probably a 9 or a 10 for me as well. Okay. That probably is. Because I don't know. It's like nobody gave us a handbook, and it's frustrating. Okay. Conflict or confrontation. That's another 9 or a 10 for me. I hate conflict or confrontation. I do everything I can to avoid that. Okay. To the extreme of fawning, people versus people pleasing, or sacrificing my happiness so I do not make other people unhappy or cause conflict or confrontation. I'll suffer, and that's not right. I know I should not do that, but I do it. Waiting without answers. I am nowhere near the most patient person on this planet. Okay, I've gotten a little bit better, but I am not the most patient person on this planet. So waiting without answers is very stressful for me. I would give that a 8, by the way. Executive functioning demands. That causes me, I'll say that's another 8 or a 9. That's a high one for me as well. And being put on the spot. Ah, when I think about it right now, it's probably about a 7. But when it happens, it's an 11. Okay. It is hard. So I try to avoid those kind of situations so I don't get put on the spot. But that's how I rank on these. I just took another look at the chat. Nothing else came in, which is fine. That's fine. So I guess I did a really good job coming up with these 10. Hey, so I'm pretty proud of that. So let's do. Ooh, I want to do that. Oh, come on. I'm trying to do something here. There we go. There we go. Okay. I'm. This is behind the scenes stuff. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. There we go. Okay. So many of the situations on this list may have seemed ordinary to non-autistic people, but for autistic adults, they often involve much more than the situation itself. They can require us to process large amounts of sensory information, interpret unwritten social expectations, adapt to unexpected changes, make quick decisions, or respond without enough time to think. When several of these demands happen at once, our brains can become overloaded and anxiety naturally increases. So when these things do happen, this is a natural reaction for us to feel anxious. Don't get down on yourself and say, I shouldn't have gotten anxious and then cause more anxiety. This is natural. It's important to remember that anxiety isn't a sign of weakness or failure for many autistic adults. It is a natural response to living in a world that is often unpredictable, fast paced, and designed around neurotypical expectations. Understanding our anxiety triggers is the first step towards managing them more effectively. Effectively. When we recognize what causes our anxiety, which I think we worked through this a little bit tonight. When we recognize what causes our anxiety, we can begin to prepare for challenging situations, advocate for the accommodations we need, and develop strategies and help us live more confidently autistic. Now, this live stream tonight, I'm going to check the chat again. If this live stream tonight has resonated with you, um, do me a favor. Hit the like button so more people can find this video. Okay? That's how the algorithm knows it's a good video and people should check it out. Okay? Share this video with someone who needs to hear it tonight. You probably know somebody, or you may know somebody who needs to hear this, whether it be the whole video or just portions of it. Share the video, okay? And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel for more conversations like this. And when you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to ring the bell because that's how you get notified when new videos premiere. And I'm at the premieres. I'm in the chat during the premieres and when we go live. Okay. Speaking of going live, please join us next week as we will dive into 10 myths about autism that autistic adults find annoying. Okay. So we're going to bust those myths. We're going to just determine what those myths are, bust them, get down to the truth. We've done something similar like that in another video, but we're going to do this. And this time we're going to try touching on why these myths bother us. So if you have a myth, an autistic myth that people believe that bothers you, bring it with you next Thursday night, right? Because this will happen next Thursday, July 23rd, 2026 at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So until next time, I am the Confident Autistic, reminding you that we can live confidently autistic. Have a great weekend. And tomorrow, before I forget, tomorrow I will be premiering a video that shares my biggest fear as a late diagnosed autistic adult. So you're gonna find out I do have fears. Okay, even though I'm confident, I do have fears. Everyone does, and I'm going to be sharing my biggest fear tomorrow. That's scheduled to go to premiere 3 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. Again, thanks for joining me tonight, and go out there and live confidently autistic. See you in the next video.